Good morning to everyone. Welcome to World Literature in Translation. Today, let's discuss about the essay of Walter Benjamin, Unpacking My Library, a talk about book collecting. Benjamin was one of the most important and innovative literary critics and essayists in 20th century Germany. He was an accomplished and passionate bibliophile, collecting everything from German literature. He referred his love of books as his bibliomania. Even in poor health and homeless, he spent the money he had on books. In late 1931, he wrote a brief and wonderful essay, Unpacking My Library. At that time, Benjamin concluded the separation from his wife Dora with a divorce and left his Berlin Grunwald residence. Then he moved into his apartment. Around him stood roughly 2000 books in crates, piles, and stacks. After 2 years of darkness, Benjamin and his books are reunited, which is air saturated with the dust of wood and the floor covered with torn paper. From this essay, we discover that on closer scrutiny, Benjamin proves to be speaking only about himself. In it, he narrates the experience of pulling the many volumes of his personal library out of the crates in which they had been inaccessibly stored for the previous 2 years. Benjamin is a true collector, more specifically a book collector. He takes a humorous look at the act of collecting and the relationship between the collector and his possessions. He was not describing the usual orderly rows of books associated with libraries, but talking about the disarray of storage. There has been three interconnected responses emerging. Here, the first one is the dialectical tension of the life of the collector. The poles of such a dialect is order and disorder. In the latter lies the mild boredom of bourgeois existence, shelf books standing at attention like soldiers of knowledge as the collector marches up and down their ranks to pass them in review. The ordered world of the collector logs individual units into discrete rows, catalogued and numbered and periodized. But a genuine collector knows that there is a strange disorder, even magic. These books are not yet shelved. This is not really, in Benjamin's point, a library. Benjamin very clearly says that a magical disorder is dialectically involved with order. A real library is always somewhat impenetrable. Magic fills and overspills the space of encyclopedic order. So, a true collector can see this. Such a collector was Walter Benjamin. The second one is the old age image, which is childlike element. His works were seen in old books, tattered bindings, and frayed pages that is not valued by the old and the new. Benjamin had a special intellectual affinity for children and their playing. According to him, children's behavior were the repositories of an alternative relation to the world. They collect forgotten and ignored phenomena and name as dead objects. He suggests that among children, collecting is only one process of renewal. Other processes are the painting of objects, the cutting out of figures, etc. It's precisely as a childlike mode of acquisition that a genuine collector emerges. To renew the old world is the collector's deepest desire when he is driven to acquire new things. In a disenchanted world, books are to be sold, counted, divided, and known. But genuine collecting is a kind of acquisition that is motivated by immaturity. Personal libraries are enabled and limited by economic principles. So, in Benjamin's sense, the collector of books is not the holder of commodities, as he is the historical reservoir of memories. Then the third one is the account of ownership. The collector's ownership of books is the most intimate relationship that one can have to objects. Collectors are the physiognomists of the world of objects. Benjamin's library contains commodities. He is in fact not averse to sell his books when he needed money or to make a profit. In fact, books are themselves subject to constellations of a dynamic past, not thoughts but images and memories. Such images disclose themselves precisely not as dead objects or antiquated historical truth, but as memories they escape involuntarily. The book collector who unpacks his old books and restores his library does not simply own or memorize the past but also disturbs the present. His collecting and recollecting make immediately visible and relevant against his will what was forgotten, past, or dead. Benjamin says that the last two crates contain books that would not belong in most libraries. They are not really books, but book-like. For the book collector, the past is living, discontinuous, and incomplete. Private ownership becomes concrete and humane, whereas public ownership destroys the intimacy and history. Benjamin takes the majority of the essay describing the various means of acquiring books and retelling stories of some of the books within his library. The act of acquisition is one of the most important aspects in the relationship between the collector and his objects. Here, the first means of acquisition and the most praiseworthy is by writing the book oneself. This concept turns every author into a collector. Another of the free method is adding books to one's collection. But the most common means of acquisition is borrowing the books and not returning them. Benjamin suggests this means as a conscious act for the habitual collector. Purchasing is also a much more varied means of obtaining books. Apart from buying books in stores, auctions are also there in buying books. But it is dangerous. The collector needs to pay attention not only to the books but also to other bidders. Auctions can also allow the collectors to get carried away with winning the bid. And the last means of acquiring books is through inheritance, and this is the soundest way of acquiring a collection. However, Benjamin retrieved an undamaged past and managed to turn his own damaged present into a book which is unpacked but not read and not really decoded. So here we came to know that Benjamin was a genuine collector and a man telling about collecting that is dissolved in his own work. Thank you.